What is going on, guys? I honestly thought we were past this whole 04 Pro gyro drama, but I keep seeing posts and videos about it, so I'm gonna make a little comparison video for you. In this quad we have a 2025 original 04 Pro, and then in this quad we have one of the 2026 04 Pros. It's not one of the 04 Pros that Flywoo swapped the chips on. It's just a regular 04 Pro with the new gyro chip in it, and we'll just do a comparison between the two and see how it goes. So to be honest, I think a lot of this 04 Pro drama sparked because Flywoo is now selling 04 Pros that they physically swapped out the i469D gyro. So that's the gyro in the 2026 04 Pros. They swapped it with the original MP66 gyro that is in the old 04 Pros. So this gyro, DJI and Flywoo saying isn't being made anymore, and now Flywoo's taking this gyro and putting it into this new 04 Pro. I don't have any of those new 04 Pros yet, but I do have some on the way. It is pretty interesting though, because if you use one of those 04 Pros that Flywoo switched the gyro on, you don't retain your DJI warranty, but Flywoo is saying that they will warranty it. So we'll see how that goes, but for right now, this has the MP66 gyro, the old and good reliable gyro, and this has the i469D gyro. So we'll see how they compare. In order to make this comparison as fair as possible, I will be using my two trusty Quadmula Siren F5 S2s. These two quads are the exact same build, same frame, both have 04 Pros, both have RCinPower 2107 2080 kV motors, both have the GepRC Taker 50 amp stack, and ARM LEDs and XR1s. The only difference, well, the only two differences, this has the 2025 04 Pro with the better gyro, and then this has the newer, worse gyro. This is also the quad that I fly every single day, so this quad is a lot more beat up than this quad, but both have fresh props, and we will see how the gyros compare. In order to do this comparison as fair as possible, what I'm going to do is 3 laps around the property with both quads. The reason I'm doing 3 laps is the first lap will be the camera set to just normal, no stabilization, just 4K 60. The second will be using Rocksteady, which is the built-in stabilization from the 04 Pro, and then I will do a third lap and I will stabilize that footage myself in GyroFlow. So I'll do that both times with each quad, and then we can compare the footage and see how the stabilization fares. Again, we're comparing a 2026 04 Pro to a 2025 04 Pro, both hard mounted in freestyle quads. So in theory, this should be the worst possible result, but we will see how they compare. Also, for those wondering, I am still flying the China Hobby Line pizza batteries, even after all my complaints. It is also really windy, I will point that out, so we'll see how the stabilization fares. Alright, so my plan is to just voice over this first initial flight just to give you guys an idea of what's going on. I apologize in advance if my flying is a little lackluster. I did have to change all of my settings that I normally fly with to do this flight. I normally fly these 04 Pros in race mode. It is not in race mode, it's in 4K 60 wide mode, no stabilization right now. So yeah, let's find a set path. The trick, I feel like, is going to be varying the throttle input and having direction changes. So I think a good path for us to follow will be, we'll come dive the house, come down, do a little speed run here all the way down the property to have some full speed, roll over the tree, roll over the other way, try to come around this bush, do a power loop, come back, and we'll call it that, because I don't know if I'll be able to replicate it too many times. So I'm gonna fly this path 3 times on each quad, and we will see what the results look like. Well, those are the results. Obviously, I am a small sample size of 1, but you have a 2025 04 Pro and a 2026 04 Pro mounted in the same exact quad, same exact way, and one stabilized, one clearly didn't. But we knew that was an issue already. So what does that mean for me? Like I said, these two are freestyle quads, so I'm never going to stabilize the footage. If I was going to stabilize the footage, it'd be out of this Action 2 or it'd be out of a GoPro. Yes, I could do the optical flow workaround to actually stabilize this footage, but that's not really something I'm looking to do. If you're asking what my plan for this is, I plan on pulling this 2025 04 Pro out of this quad because it does have a good gyro, and I will be putting it into this quad. This is a Quadmula gin frame. It is a 2.5-inch dead cat frame, and I feel like this 04 Pro that could actually stabilize would be better suited in a quad that would actually use stabilization, because this is a quad that I plan on filming something more cinematic with, unlike this quad. And then this quad is actually going to get this, another one of the 2026 04 Pros with the bad gyro. And this way my two freestyle quads that will never get stabilized will have 04 Pros that I don't have to worry about the stabilization, because I'm never going to utilize that feature. My final thoughts on this situation, I'm kind of in a weird circumstance because this is a $250 product for each of them, and it doesn't work as advertised. I'm obviously upset about that part, but in this application, which is freestyle, I wouldn't want to use that footage anyway. Why? There's props in view and top plate in view, so it's not footage I would ever stabilize because there's props in view. If I actually wanted to stabilize footage out of an 04 Pro, I would use a quad like this. This is a Impulse RC Apex Dead Cat, so the props are not in view of this 04 Pro, and luckily this is a 2025 04 Pro, so all the beautiful cinematic footage out of this 04 Pro can be stabilized, or I could use the GoPro on top. But if I was trying to build a quad like this and I found out that my 2026 04 Pro couldn't stabilize the footage, obviously I would be mad, because that's what I'm building this quad for, to fly cinematically and stabilize footage. Luckily, the circumstance that I'm in, these are going to have the 2026 04 Pros, and I never have to worry about stabilizing the footage. For these quads, I'm using an 04 Pro for the beautiful image quality, incredible range and penetration, and decent latency in race mode. I feel like we forget that the 04 Pro is the best video system we have to date. Yes, analog is still king, but when you fly analog, you film with a GoPro anyway. So in this scenario, with these 5-inch quads, if I needed to film something and stabilize it, I would just run a GoPro because I can. Where I feel we are let down though is on these smaller builds like this gin that physically can't carry a GoPro. I'm not in love with the 04 Pro image, but it makes it possible to use a small platform like this and get some amazing shots. But if you don't have the right gyro chip, you're not going to be able to stabilize that footage. So with all of that being said, did DJI drop the ball? Yes. Am I mad? Not entirely. I'm more disappointed because it is an incredible video system and we can't take that away from DJI. Moving forward, I'm just going to have to be more careful with how I plan my builds, and I'll have to keep 04 Pros like this one in a safe spot until they actually need them for a build like this. So those are just my thoughts on this whole situation. Again, this is my circumstance. Luckily, I am fortunate enough that I built quads like this that are going to be used cinematically ahead of time before this gyro issue was an issue. So as always, let me know down below what your thoughts on the circumstances, how you feel, what are your plans moving forward. Just let me know what you think, because 5-inch quads, it's easy. Just slap a GoPro on top. Yes, it's not ideal, but you could still do it. I really feel like we're losing out on smaller builds like this. So hopefully sometime in the future there's a resolution. I don't think there's going to be a resolution unless it's going to come from a company like Flywoo that is going to switch the gyros. But that could only last so long because apparently the gyro is discontinued. So we'll see what happens, and just let me know down below what you think. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.